All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm 13 WMAZ meteorologist Alex Forbes. We are tracking showers and storms headed towards central Georgia that are capable of producing some severe weather, not only this afternoon, but over the course of really the next 3 days here in central Georgia. So this afternoon, tonight, then tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then the following afternoon and evening, it looks like. So we are in for a ride here in central Georgia in terms of, at least for the weather team, plenty to do and track here over the course of the next few days. So here's what we've got going on right now. Within the past, we'll say, hour, we've seen a thunderstorm complex begin to get itself together. This is just south of the Tuscaloosa, Alabama area, and that is beginning to move towards central Georgia. And I think that's probably going to be our first wave that's going to roll in here, we'll say 2 o'clock or so. But as I was mentioning, we are in a level 2 today. So here's a closer look at that. Obviously, we have the damaging wind threat, the threat for large hail, and heavy rain. Now, this isn't just the run-of-the-mill level 2 threat, weak cold front coming through. What's associated with this threat is the hail that we are going to be looking at the possibility of here in central Georgia. Easily 2+ inches inside of this black line you see here. So we'll say from Vidalia up through Soperton, Irwinton, Macon, over towards Thomaston and Point South are going to be included within that. This is what we call a hatched area. So the Storm Prediction Center will put this out whenever hail over 2 inches in diameter is possible. So we're talking about egg-sized hail and potentially higher. So egg size is 2 inches. We'll call 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 is about tennis ball. 1 3/4 inches is about golf ball. So between golf ball and tennis ball-sized hail is going to be possible here in central Georgia. And in fact, here's a pretty good explanation of that. You can see the hail falling out of the sky there and the different sizes, right? So whenever we get a severe thunderstorm warning, we're talking usually about 1/4 inch hail, or the hail the size of 1/4, which is 1 inch. There it is. That's what I'm trying to say. But today we're up in that a little bit, up to about 2 inches. So that'd be hen egg sized. Then obviously you get bigger than that. You get tennis ball, baseball, softball, and grapefruit size hail. If we ever have grapefruit size hail, we've got bigger problems here in central Georgia. Now, the other thing that's different today that you might see us start talking about is the severe thunderstorm warnings have different tags to them. So as we get warnings today, as we expect we'll get warnings, we will likely be talking about the considerable tag being attached to those, which means a golf ball sized hail can put some dents in cars. So we'll be watching for the threat of that. If that does happen, of course, it'll show that on the weather map. But here's what's going on. So you might be wondering how hail forms. So obviously we just went into the clouds there. You got frozen water that are swept up by the upward moving winds in the clouds. And as it moves up in the clouds, it collects ice, those ice crystals in the cloud against it. And that's when you get hail to form. Now, when hail falls, there's a balance between the weight and the updraft in the storm. So the wind going into the storm eventually can't hold the weight of that hail anymore, and that's when it falls out of the sky. So what we've got today is a strong updraft, a strong wind into the storm that's going to be able to hold it up into the clouds a bit longer and collect some more ice on it. So logging on to Facebook here, I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Now, a disclaimer, I know everybody likes to ask, what about my location? This forecast is for everybody in central Georgia, all right? There's not going to be any different forecast for Monroe County versus Dodge County, for Baldwin County versus Crisp County. It's all going to be the same. The issue that we're going to run into is the timing is something that the models are having a very hard time nailing down. Generally speaking, we're going to go with from now until Thursday evening, on and off storms with damaging winds and large hail. It is going to be very hard to say, it's going to rain in your neighborhood at 3 p.m. It's just going to be hard. So first question from Dallas Wagner: how does hail affect driving? I can't speak to personal experience, but I can't imagine it would be fun driving in hail. You get the speed of the hail falling plus the speed of your car, you're probably looking at a cracked windshield or two. Will Bibb County be affected? Yes, every county in our viewing area will be affected. That includes Macon, Bibb, that includes Houston, Baldwin, Monroe, Lawrence, Peach County, Crawford County. Everybody is going to be impacted today here in central Georgia. Let's see what else we got. Gwen saying good morning. Lisa saying hi. Pamela Sutherland is watching. So let's go through it. This is what Now, take this with a grain of salt, right? We're talking about Future View not having a good handle on this, but it does have a good handle on our environment, which is why this forecast is out there. So that's what Future View is showing at 5 p.m. Based off what I'm seeing back into Alabama and Mississippi right now, I think we're going to have a lot more activity at 5 p.m. than what this is showing. So take that for what you will. As we work our way deeper into the night, there's 7 p.m. This shows another round of storms, which will be possible even on top of what we are expecting this afternoon just based off the radar. And then there we go into 9 p.m., the last of the storms getting out of here. And then we will be mostly quiet until about 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, tomorrow morning, let's pick this up here. There we go to 5 a.m. Here comes another round of storms, right? So if you're headed out between 6, 7, 8 o'clock, maybe some hail producers and wind producers working their way through central Georgia there. See some heavy downpours working their way through. And then as we work our way through the mid-morning hours, we're still talking about showers and storms. Maybe a lull in the afternoon, but then tomorrow, mid-afternoon into the evening, see the activity pick up again. See, there's more storms. There's 9, 10, and then into the overnight, this model is going to show things getting rambunctious. There we go, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Could be a loud evening, a ton of lightning, and then hail producers in that. And then just when you think we're done, we get the last of it out of here, we are not. So there we go, 12 p.m. Thursday, 1 p.m. There's another round of storms. That's going to be mainly down to the south. But then it does look like Thursday afternoon, that's when we'll finally get the last of it out of here. Now, the reason why all of this is happening is because we've got the cold front that came through central Georgia. It's technically stalled out right now down to the south, and that is what this is traveling along. So this is our initial round right here, right, back into Alabama, Mississippi. This is what's coming towards us right now. And what we've got is this front, which is stationary, and we'll draw the front, say, right about there. Oh, but the pattern is incorrect. So let me draw it this way. So we got the front situated, right about like that. So this is following the front, in its motion. Now, what's possible is, as we work our way through the next several days, is that this front actually begins to come north a little bit. And if it does that, it turns into a warm front, and then that's going to make our air even more conducive for severe storms. So if it does that and it starts moving towards the north, that's when you get this warm front here. That's also going to bring more rain further north. Now, rain's something we haven't talked about just yet. So I'm going to play this forward, but don't pay attention to the exact amounts. Pay attention to the pattern as I do this, right? So this is showing 6 inches of rain in Butler, 6 inches of rain in Montezuma, 6 inches of rain in Cochran. There's going to be a heavy band of rain that sets up somewhere in central Georgia. The question is that over Macon, Warner Robins, Irwinton, Wrightsville, or is it over Montezuma, Cordelia, Unadilla, Eastman? The amounts are going to vary so much because where exactly that boundary is where the heavy rainfall is going to be determined. It's entirely possible that Macon sees 2.7 inches of rain, but just 10, 15 miles down the road, Warner Robins sees 5.5 inches of rain. That is very much going to be a possibility. So let me get back over to Facebook here, see if we can get some more questions. Let's see, how is Hawkinsville looking? Hawkinsville is looking wet and like there's storms coming. So Hawkinsville looking at storms from now until off and on until Thursday evening that could produce damaging winds and large hail. Let's see what else we got. Will it hit Rochelle? Yes, I'm expecting storms in Rochelle and all of Wilcox County. Looks like Putnam County is on the edge of that threat. Yes, Putnam County is. I do think the better hail threat's going to be to the south, but still storms are expected in Putnam County nonetheless. When should we expect to see the shirt sleeves between the wrists and the elbows? I will definitely have that tomorrow morning. If I had to bet, I think Ben's going to have it this evening. Yeah, Alex Pry's over here working on the midday show. I would suspect Ben will have his sleeves up for the evening show. When North Macon haven't received any rain yet. So we haven't seen any rain yet today. So I live in North Macon. We saw a pretty good shower yesterday. I suspect we'll see stuff this afternoon in North Macon. Jennifer Ellis asking what the tornado potential is. So notice here on this box, we don't have tornadoes listed. There's no tornado potential over the course of the next few days. What about Washington County? So you're in that level 2 risk, and technically I think Washington County is just outside of that hatched hail risk area. So still a hail threat in Washington County here, but I think the chance for bigger hail is going to be closer to Perry, Warner Robins, Cordele, I'll say Unadilla, Cochrane, Eastman, and McRae. All right. Oh, Rob, come on. We're not talking about earthquakes or UFOs. Let's see. What about Houston County? So you can see here, Houston County in the hatched risk area for hail. So we're talking about the potential for hail up to maybe even greater than 2 inches in diameter, which is egg-sized. So like the eggs you buy at the grocery store. It would be that size. Let's see what else we've got. A question about Peach County, much of the same for what I just said for Houston County. They're right there next to each other. So that's going to include Byron, Fort Valley. Something else, I guess this is the question to ask you. The peach crop, I would imagine, is susceptible to large hail. Same with pecans. So concerned about that, especially if we get 2-inch in diameter hail. Maybe you're getting some of that knocked off. But I think the biggest thing today is probably going to be the cars. If you have the ability to put your car under something and keep it under something for like 3 days, whether it be a carport, a garage, a gas station, don't go park your car at the gas pump for 3 days. But you know, if you see hail coming and you need to fill up, it'd be a shame if you were under the cover at the gas station, because I think you get that size hail, you're going to be running into issues like that. Let's see, not seeing any more questions on Facebook, so let me hop over to YouTube here, because we've got the question feature there as well. Actually, no, we don't. Never mind. Scratch that. Let's see. Watching from Lake Sinclair, Eatonton. So yeah, we just talked about Putnam County. Putnam County is on the edge of all of this. I'm not going to say this is impossible in Putnam County, but I think the chance for 2-inch greater hail is probably higher down to the south. We'll say near Warner Robins, Perry, Roberta, Dublin, Eastman, Cochrane, and all of that. Let's see. Thanks for the update. Of course, happy to do it. Is it safe to drive to Cochrane after 5 and back to 7 to Macon? So we were talking about the timing a few minutes ago. We have a very hard time nailing down the timing on this because Future View has been all over the place. I would say, yes, you can do it to Cochrane and back from Macon, but I would check the radar before you go and before you leave Cochrane, just to make sure nothing's coming, because I would not want to be stuck in this. What about South Dodge County, the Rhine area? So Rhine is included within this hatched area for large hail, for 2-inch in diameter hail. So between now and Thursday night, looking for on and off storms in Rhine that have the potential for producing gusty winds, damaging winds, and large hail that could also do damage. What kind of wind speeds are we talking about? Asks Ramona. I'm thinking the usual severe thunderstorm level type stuff, about 60 miles an hour. So this is actually a good time to talk about our different types of warnings, because I think we're going to see a different type of warning as we work our way through the next few days. So to get a severe thunderstorm warning, you need at least 60 mile an hour, 58 mile an hour winds and an 1.25 inch hail. But if you get either of these, you jump to a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. So I think we'll see winds closer to that 58 number, but hail closer to that 1.75 number, which will put it in the considerable range. So winds, nothing out of the ordinary. Hail is out of the ordinary today. Hunter is rubbing in that he is in Panama City for the week soaking in the sun. So thanking us for all we do. Absolutely. Clay saying he doesn't see a drop of rain potential, a beautiful day. We'll talk about 3 p.m. Christy saying, thanks, we had hail and bad winds yesterday. Yeah, that's right. I had a couple warnings yesterday as well. Tammy asking, what about Milledgeville? So Milledgeville, kind of like Putnam County, is right on the edge here. I would say if I'm going to be anywhere in central Georgia today, I'd rather be in Milledgeville. You're right on the edge of the 1 and 2, but you still have that hail potential. The higher hail, or the larger hail potential, is going to be just south of Milledgeville. So there's Thomaston, Macon, Irwinton, down into the northern parts of Lawrence County, Treutlen County, and then off to the west this afternoon. So that is for Baldwin County there. Let's see what else we've got. Gail saying, thanks for the update. Absolutely. We just talked about Baldwin County. So yeah, as I've said a bunch of times, Melissa asking about Forsyth, still the hail potential, but maybe not that 2-inch plus. That's going to be mainly south of Forsyth, but that's not impossible in Forsyth. I do want to emphasize that. It's just that the better chance of it's going to be south of Forsyth. Lynn asking about Rents. So Rents is in the hatched area. It's in this black outlined area for large hail over 2 inches in diameter. Going to be watching for that. Logan saying it's beautiful in Gordon also. Yeah, it's great here in Macon as well, but you'll see later this afternoon. Darlene saying, hope everybody stays safe. Carl asking about what time should this start for Warner Robins and Macon. Kathy asking for somewhat of a similar timeline. So the timing on this whole thing over the next 3 days is going to change a lot. Based off what I'm seeing right now on radar is storms are starting to get going in Alabama. This will pop up here in just a second. See over near the Tuscaloosa area and then back here over towards Montgomery. That's what's moving towards us, and obviously with the heating of the day, it's going to start to become stronger. I would say rain starts in central Georgia after 12:31-ish, and then we get the storms. I think we'll probably hit a lull later this evening, and then we'll see another flare up through the overnight hours, and then beyond that, it is on and off through Thursday evening. Now, if we get to this afternoon and say these storms kind of peter out before they make it to central Georgia, that's going to increase our risk for this evening. We're just going to be in a volatile atmosphere for the next couple of days that we're going to get wave after wave of rain, and each wave's arrival time depends on the wave before it. Dustin asking about straight line winds. Yes, that would be a possibility up to about 60 miles an hour. Glenwood, much of the same I was just talking about. So you've got the timeline that I was just describing. You've got the wind threat and the hail threat, up to 2 inches in diameter, or maybe even a little bigger. Tammy, same thing for Bibb County. Daisy saying, can't wait for it to rain so I can sit on the front porch and read. Go for it. If you hear hail, maybe not sit on the front porch because you don't want to get hit in the head with an egg-sized hailstone. What are some things we can do to protect our cars from the hail, asks Dallas. So first and foremost, your car covered. That's the best thing you can do, whether it be a carport, whether you're at a gas station getting gas for a prolonged period of time, whether you are in a garage, whether you've got a cover at work that you can go park your car under. Might have moved the Storm Lab over to the left a little bit so I can fit my car under it as well for tomorrow morning. If you can't do that, first protect the windshield. So cardboard, just a piece of cardboard across your windshield can work. Also, like moving blankets, if you can tie those down somehow so they don't blow away, that can help. Other than that, parking it under a tree, I guess, is something you could do, but then it's like, what if the tree falls? I don't think we're going to see trees falling left and right, but it would help from the hail. So bottom line, Dallas, cover your car if you can. Park it under something if you can. How big does hail have to be to damage cars? I was wondering that earlier. I don't know. I would imagine 2-inch size hail would put a dent in a car. Hey, Roy. Roy's our engineer. What size hail do you think you need to put a dent in a car? Egg size?
Yeah, between tennis ball and softball.
Okay.
Probably egg, according to the
Egg. Yeah.
how many at one time.
Right. Okay.
Make of the car.
Also true. If you have a strong car, maybe not as big, or not as small. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so we're getting into that territory is what we're hitting at. So Roy was saying maybe egg size, but certainly once you get to tennis ball and softball size, that's going to put a dent in a car. Let's see. In Cape Coral, Florida, no storms. It is hot. You are in Florida after all. Hopefully the hail damage to cars won't be that bad. It's the bigger size hail that gets mixed in that concerns me, says William Marshall. Yeah, and that's why we're talking about this the way we are, is so that you can protect your car if you know it's coming. The golden rule of meteorology is we can have the best forecast in the world, but it's worthless if we don't get it out. So that's what we're doing now, talking about the hail that we're expecting here in central Georgia today. Charles saying, great, I got to work tonight. Going to be fun. I got to work tonight too. I'll be rolling in here at 2 a.m. probably. So right there with you, Charles. Let's see. My dad has a suggestion. Cover a truck with pool noodles. If you have a bunch of pool noodles, if you have 20 pool noodles in your garage, you can cover your windshield. something to go for. Margaret asking about Harrison. So much of the same that we've been talking about with Harrison. Storms this afternoon, it looks like. Those could have large hail in them. And then the rounds of storms that we have coming over the course of the next 3 days could also have large hail and damaging winds in them. Dustin saying he hopes insurance covers hail damage. A lot of times it does, from what I understand. Water is very, very rough in Panama City. Red flag yesterday and today so far, says Hunter. Yeah, and if you have red flags in the Gulf of Mexico, you do not want to get into the Gulf of Mexico. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, we did a story a couple weeks ago. There are more drowning deaths along the northern Gulf Coast of the Gulf of Mexico, so from Panama City over to Pensacola, Mobile, into the Mississippi beaches, than any other weather-related death in that area. It's staggering. Margaret saying it doesn't. Well, maybe that's the answer to your insurance question. Let's see. Yeah, so the timing's up in the air. The threats, you know, the hail is going to be our big story, followed by the damaging wind possibility, and then the heavy rainfall that comes after that. Because here, I'll punch this up again. We're talking about rain, and again, don't pay attention to these exact numbers. Don't pay attention to these exact numbers. I'd say it one more time for good measure, but I don't want to be repetitive. We're going to be looking at a lot of rain somewhere in central Georgia. Wherever the training sets up, wherever that front stalls out, is where that rain is going to come. So while this model run shows, you know, almost 7 inches of rain in Montezuma, 7 in Cochrane, 5.8 in Soperton, if this diagonal dark green line is any further north, those values are going to be here in Macon. If it's any further south, that's going to be Crisp County, Wilcox County, over towards Telfair, Wheeler, Montgomery counties. So the big question is, where does this green swath of rain, these higher totals, set up? And that's what we're going to be watching for here through. Honestly, we should have a good idea of this map by tomorrow morning. See where that sets up, where the front is, and that will dictate what we see through the rest of the until Thursday evening. Let's see. The base is not ideal for seeking locations for hail cover, says William Marshall. Okay, something good to know. Maybe not be on the base. If you have comprehensive coverage on your auto policy, it pays, says Deborah. Deborah, what about Baldwin County, asked Kareen. So Baldwin County, the biggest severe weather threat is going to be south of Baldwin County, but still a severe weather threat in Baldwin County and Milledgeville. And you know, isolated showers and storms, maybe hail up to 1.5 inches in diameter there over the course of the next 3 days until Thursday afternoon, it looks like. From Macon, but visiting grandkids in Florida. We got lots of people watching from Florida today. Stay safe, says Valerie. Let's see what else we've got. Hail is covered under comprehensive insurance. So good to know. If you have comprehensive car insurance, hail should be covered, according to people in the comments. So that's pretty much what we've got going on. I've got to sign off here in the next few minutes because meteorologist Alex Pry is going to be doing midday. Now, the one thing I haven't mentioned is this for tomorrow. I'm not more concerned about tomorrow than today, which is why I haven't mentioned it. But technically, parts of our area clipped by a level 3. I would not be surprised to see this level 3 expand tomorrow, maybe include more of our southern counties. But this is just, you know, emphasizing the hail risk again. Again, there's no tornado threat with this tomorrow. So we're going to keep an eye on it, but as of now, not the most concerned about it. So we'll leave you with this, with what's going on right now. Again, meteorologist Alex Pry is going to be tracking all of this beginning at midday, and then Chief Meteorologist Ben Jones and Alex Pry will be here tonight for 5 and 6. We'll have everything you need to know. Of course, when we get severe thunderstorm warnings, we will be live right here on Facebook, on YouTube, on our website. And then as we get into the evening hours, that's going to continue for the next several days as we get warnings. And of course, we'll be bringing you the best information right here in Central Georgia as we get it. So thank you for watching. Stay safe. Don't go running in hail. I do not advise it. It is not fun. I can't speak from experience, but that's what people say. So yes, don't go running in hail. That is what I leave you with. Have a good day.